My muse is a 7-year-old chocolate and tan sausage dog. I was captivated by Tina when she was a pup, ears that moved like a tiny elephant's, a seal jolting head and platypus feet pitter-pattering along, trying to get hold of my laces. Before we met I made sculptures called prayers for Sausage Dog. One such work was a 3-headed dachshund contraption, the tail of which I vigorously turned in hope it would summon such a creature. It seems to have worked. Tina was rescued from a puddle of mud under a house in Ningen, in the Boganshire of New South Wales. Tina is named after a tenor pad, a Swedish-based urinary incontinence product. She was christened with her name by virtue of her shape. She distinctly resembles one of those great inventions of absorbency. In addition, Tina often greets strangers with a rolling operation, landing on her back, presenting a memento of the happy occasion, a small tinkle. David Capra and his dachshund Tina perform at TEDx in Sydney. Photograph, Catherine McElhone, TED. In 2016, Tina launched her own fragrance, Ode a Wet Dog, on Australian breakfast television with a Smell-O-Vision segment with Carl Stefanovic and Lisa Wilkinson. In 2014, Tina's bath time was launched at the Museum of Contemporary Art's Bella Room, where audiences were invited to help bathe Tina. Visitors grew so attached to the room-sized zigzagging Tina installation that some had to be consoled when she was packed away. Visitors related to Tina's experiences around anxiety. Tina doesn't enjoy bath time. Some wrote letters of advice to her, for example, get over it, it's only a bath, and baths will keep you smelling fresh. Maybe start with soaking your paws. Last year, I embarked on a global self-funded sows tour, documenting sausage dogs I encountered on footpaths. In New York, I met Katie Dobbs, who had been the long-standing editor-in-chief of Muppet magazine. I got a wiener dog of my own after falling in love with a close friend's dog, she said. That friend had been Andy Warhol. Warhol and his tan short-haired Archie were inseparable, Dobbs told me. It wouldn't be uncommon for the artist to switch attention to Archie during interviews and make an appearance at Studio 54, paw in hand. Archie was a mirror of his boss, says Jamie Wyeth, who made oil paintings of the pair. He'd sit there and stare at people. And just like Andy, he didn't say a word. In 1957, American photographer David Douglas Duncan and his pet dachshund, Lump, set off in his Mercedes Gullwing 300 SL to visit Pablo Picasso in the Villa La California, near Cannes. Used to living in a cramped Rome apartment, Lump liked Picasso's endless rooms and Esmeralda, the artist's pet goat, so much that he decided to stay. The Marriage of Lolita and Lump chapter in Duncan's book, Lump, the Dog Who Ate a Picasso, shows Lump's first meeting with the lady dachshund. Picasso can be seen helping the two consummate their marriage. On a related note, a friend of mine used to be employed to assist dachshunds to mate. Their bodies don't quite meet up, you see, my friend told me, so they needed an extra pair of hands. Soon after Lump's arrival, Picasso commemorated their first lunch together by inscribing in ink the dog's outstretched silhouette on a porcelain plate. A photograph shows the moment immediately afterwards, with Picasso's fishbone spread across his mouth and Lump's yearning eyes looking on. Andy Warhol with his beloved dachshund Archie in November 1973. Photograph, Jack Mitchell, Getty Images. Lump was a constant companion of Picasso, the two dying only days apart. Duncan says of their bond, when Picasso looked at Lump a sweet gentleness glowed in his eyes. Once he said, Lump has the best and worst in us. It can't be a coincidence that two of the world's most celebrated 20th century artists each had a dachshund in their life. Is it a dachshund's zany attentiveness and pointed gaze that makes an artist feel like they are on top of the world? Is it too far-fetched to ask, if it wasn't for Lump or Archie, would these artists have remained in the public eye? American painter William N. Copley is another notable artist seduced by the dachshund. His four-legged friend would pop up in painted scenes alongside car accidents, meat grinders, nude women and patterned interiors. French avant-garde artist Pierre Bonnard tenderly rendered his dachshund with a few scarce brush marks, seated in rooms of yellow and magenta, or on someone's lap at dinner. Ruthie, the pup of German expressionist Franz Marc, is depicted in Dog Lying in the Snow, voted the Stadel Museum's most popular painting in 2008. We can't be sure if the dog depicted is of the dachshund breed, but it does bear those familiar triangular ears and elongated log body. According to Mark, animals are the only innocent and pure creatures left in this corrupted world. Though, if he truly believed that, it is unlikely he ever encountered the headstrong and mischievous dachshund. In Alba, northern Italy, I came face to face with futurist Giacomo Balla's dynamism of a dog on a leash. This masterpiece presents a dachshund with multiple paws, a flapping looking somewhat between a well-oiled machine and progress itself, as it purposely walks down the street. Only hours earlier on the flight over, I watched how Jim Carrey's character on The Truman Show learns his entire life as a 24-hour-a-day TV program. During the realization sequence, a dachshund is seen raging the road, its leash tumbling in the wind and sausage body zipping across the frame. Dachshunds mimic United Nations delegates in Australian artist Bennett Miller's Dachshund UN. Photograph, Michelle Shu. Another pit stop on the South Tour was meeting New York dog artist William Wegman, known for his collaborations with Weimaranas, like Fay Ray, the supermodel dog who counted balls on Sesame Street. Wegman now works with Flo and Topper, the half-brother and sister duo. Fresh from their photo shoot with Vogue, I presented them with Oda Wet Dog, a gift from Tina. The kitchen became a beastly whirlwind mass of bray as the two circled the scent. Flo and Topper then demonstrated how they balanced on their famed white plinths. I saw the same level of bodily pose and focus that sweeps across Tina's face when the camera makes an appearance. Some dogs, more than others, are made for show business, yet all the dachshunds I know go about life like they're continually in the spotlight. Next on the South Tour list is the brand new Dachshund Museum in Passau, Germany. Of particular interest is what appears to be a stuffed half-dachshund, half-Komodo dragon on display. Artist David Hockney with his two sausage dogs. Photograph, Tony Larkin, Rex. Shutterstock. Australian artist Bennett Miller is no stranger to the sausage dog form, staging the work Dachshund UN across the globe. Here, delegates were replaced by real dachshunds in a to-scale tiered model of the United Nations Commission on Human Rights Assembly. I was looking at this idea of form following function, and the dachshund form is sort of strange because it's very divorced from its function, Miller said in 2012. The dachshund is a good metaphor for the UN, mostly because of the restricted form of their tiny legs, looking proud and determined. For 1 hour, little dogs spout into microphones seated behind country name placards. Pure joy and mania. British painter David Hockney, known for his fashionable ensembles of stripes, bow ties and smart trousers, was often seen with dachshunds Stanley and Boogie. The two would regularly be found in Hockney's studio, sitting on their cushions, snuggling up to each other as they watched each brushstroke. They complement the picture, not unlike the handsome Ducky the Dachshund in Jacques Tati's 1958 slapstick comedy, Mon Oncle. Dressed in tartan print, the family pet appears to be of the same make as the modernist furnishings populating the sets. Stanley and Boogie have had an entire picture book, Dog Days, dedicated to the laying about. I noticed the warm shapes they make together, their sadness and their delights, Hockney writes. And being Hollywood dogs, they somehow know that a picture is being made. The Hollywood Hills is a far cry from barking at badgers in the countryside, which is what the dachshund was originally bred for. What makes a dachshund so adored by artists? Maybe it's because a sausage dog is the only match for an artist's ego. The dachshund sure is an authority when it comes to single-mindedness. They see the world for what it is, theirs and for the taking. Tina demonstrated this recently when, before presenting to a TEDx audience of 5,000, she developed a reputation backstage for all her barking, so much that a sign was hung on her dressing room, "Please knock with only 2 gentle knocks. Enter with caution." David Capra is a Sydney-based performance artist who regularly collaborates with his dachshund, Tina.